Hi everyone, yasas que kalos to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a beautiful and delicious classic Greek dessert with a little modern twist on it. We're making Galaktoboureko, which is a Greek custard pie. Flaky, buttery phyllo shaped into a braid. It's filled with that creamy semolina custard. Once it comes out of the oven, it's topped with the delicious syrup, and then you have to wait a little bit, which is the hardest part, but when you go to serve this, of course, it's gorgeous to look at, and then when you bite into it, it's creamy and so good, and it's perfect if you're hosting a special dinner. The holidays are right around the corner. We're going to have lots of gatherings. If you want to bring something special to a dinner that you're going to, so that way you're not empty-handed, something special for the host, this is perfect. It makes two, so you can freeze one and bake one. Let's get started making it. Okay, so just like all syrup-based desserts, we're going to begin by making the syrup because you want the syrup to have a chance to cool down. We always pour cooled syrup over hot pastry. So in the saucepan over here, I'm just going to add 2 cups of granulated sugar, 1.5 cups of water, 1 cinnamon stick, lemon peel. I just like to use this peeler that I peel potatoes with and carrots and stuff like that, and just get that zest out. You don't want to go too deep to the white part because that's bitter. That bright shiny yellow part is where all the flavor is. So get the lemon zest in there. You can use orange zest instead if you prefer an orange flavor, or leave it out altogether. And then this is going to go over the heat. This is going to cook until it comes to a boil, and once that sugar has melted, turn the heat off, take it off of the heat, and stir in 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Set this aside so it can cool completely. Okay, now it's time to make the custard. This custard is so good. So for the custard, I'm going to add 5 cups of whole milk into my saucepan, and then there's 1 cup of granulated sugar that's going into the custard, but I'll put about 3/4 of it or half of it in the milk, and the rest is going to go in the same pitcher that I had the milk in, because we're going to beat the eggs and the semolina with it. When you heat up milk over the stovetop and you add some sugar to the pot, especially if you're making obviously a sweet custard, don't mix it. The sugar that goes down to the bottom is going to melt, and it will protect the milk from sticking to your pot. That's a little pastry chef secret that I use every single time when I'm making a custard. So while the milk is heating, you want it to get steaming hot. We're going to beat the eggs with the sugar and the semolina flour. So to the sugar pitcher situation that we have over here, I'll add 4 eggs to it. The eggs should be at room temperature. That everything will work better that way. And then start beating that together until everything is incorporated. And then I'll add 1 cup of fine semolina flour and mix that really well. Just whisk it up until everything is combined. Once the milk is piping hot, I'm going to pour it carefully into the egg mixture. This is going to temper the eggs and keep everything from curdling, and it's going to help make a really smooth and creamy custard. So get the milk in there, whisk it all together, and then pour everything back into the saucepan. This is going to cook over medium heat until it begins to boil. You do not want to step aside at this point. Stay over your stovetop and keep mixing this. This happens really quickly because the second it starts boiling, it's going to thicken considerably. And once it gets nice and thick, you want to turn the heat off, take it off of the heat, and then we'll add some butter. So 2 ounces or 60 grams of unsalted butter are going in here, and 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Whisk that really well and set it aside. And now we'll assemble our braids. This recipe makes 2 braids and it freezes beautifully, so you can bake one and freeze the other. Or if you're serving them both, you can bake both of them. We're going to take 1 layer of phyllo at a time, but before we do that, you want to line your work area with a parchment paper, the same parchment paper that's going to go onto the baking tray. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to move your braid over to the pan once it's assembled and it's not already in the pan. So don't do that. I've done that before, and it's just tricky, and the thing can just fall apart. So place the parchment paper down on your work surface, and then we're going to take 10 to 12 layers of phyllo, so 1 sheet at a time. I've melted 2 sticks of unsalted butter in this cup, and I'm just going to lightly drizzle some butter on each layer and then lightly brush it too. You don't have to get the butter everywhere. When it cooks in the oven, it'll spread a little bit. So butter all those layers, again 10 to 12. If the sheets are ever sticking together, don't try to separate them. You can put 2 sheets down at a time if you need to. That's totally fine. If you try to separate them, they'll just tear and then you'll waste them. So Once you get the phyllo layer down there, we're going to take half of that custard, or a little bit less than half. You're going to have some custard left over, and put it down the center of those buttered phyllo layers. And then we're going to cut diagonal strips on the sides. So both sides are going to get an equal number of cuts. You want to go at a diagonal with a sharp knife. You can use a pastry wheel if you like, or a pizza cutter, whatever you like, whatever's easy. And just cut down the sides, and then these strips are going to form the braid decoration on top. So we're going to take them one at a time and fold them over each other like I'm doing here. And then I'm going to carefully lift the parchment paper up and place it on the baking tray. And see that? It's so easy when you do it like this from the beginning. If you try to do it the other way, you're going to need spatulas and dough scrapers, and you're going to end up with a mess on your hands. So don't skip that step. We're going to brush the phyllo braid with the remaining butter. And again, we can make 2 of these. One can go in the freezer. I'm freezing one of them. The other one is going to go into the oven. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to bake for between 50 to 60 minutes, or until it's golden brown all around and nice and crispy. As soon as it comes out of the oven, we're going to pour the syrup on top. So one braid gets half of the syrup, obviously, and then you have to wait and let it settle and cool to room temperature. That way the custard will have a time to absorb that syrup, and then it'll be easy to serve without having it falling apart. I love to serve this warm with some Greek coffee, of course. It's so creamy, flaky, and buttery. And there you have it. The Galaktoboureko braid is ready. It's beautiful, stunning, and it's pretty simple to make. I mean, if you follow my instructions step by step, you'll end up with this gorgeous Galaktoboureko braid that everyone is going to love. It's just so beautiful to look at. Of course, you can finish this off with some cinnamon on top. You can line the layers with a little bit of cinnamon sugar just to get some caramelized crunch in between, just for some more sweetness and some more texture. It's up to you, but it's perfect as is. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. If you do, let me know how it came out in the comment section down below. To print this recipe out, you can head on over to the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you want to learn how to make the classic Greek Galaktoboureko, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes, Zest.